Most people ignore this until it's too late. Of all the principles I have taught across my lifetime of research into human achievement, this is the one that receives the least respect. Men hear the words pleasing personality, and they think I am talking about charm, about social grace, about the art of making people feel comfortable at parties, about the kind of superficial likability that they correctly identify as having nothing to do with genuine achievement, and so they dismiss it. They file it away as something soft, something that might matter in politics or sales, but has no place in the serious business of building a life. This is a mistake, and it is a costly one, because what I am talking about when I talk about pleasing personality has nothing to do with charm in the superficial sense. It has nothing to do with performance, or social skill as a technique, or the manufactured likability of the man who has learned to work a room. What I am talking about is something far more fundamental and far more consequential than any of those things. I am talking about the quality of your presence as a force in the lives of the people around you. I am talking about whether your presence in any situation, any relationship, any organization, any room, makes the people around you more capable, more energized, more willing to cooperate, more inclined to give their best effort toward a shared purpose, or whether your presence does the opposite. This is not a soft consideration. It is one of the most strategically important factors in the achievement of any purpose that requires the cooperation of other human beings. And every significant purpose does. No man builds alone. I have said this before, and I will say it again, because it is fundamental. Every great achievement is a collective achievement, the result of multiple people giving their effort, their knowledge, their creativity, and their commitment to a shared purpose. The quality of that collective effort is determined, more than by any other single factor, by the quality of the relationships within the group. And the quality of relationships within any group is shaped profoundly and continuously by the personalities of the people within it. The man with a genuinely pleasing personality, one that draws others toward him, that makes them willing and even eager to give their best effort in cooperation with him, that makes the experience of working toward a shared purpose with him genuinely positive, has an advantage that no amount of technical skill or individual brilliance can fully compensate for. Let me tell you exactly what that personality consists of. The first quality of a pleasing personality is a positive mental attitude, not manufactured cheerfulness, not the performance of optimism, but a genuine, grounded, fundamental orientation toward possibility, the basic stance of a person who approaches life and people and challenges from the assumption that things can be worked out, that problems have solutions, that people are generally worth trusting, and that the future, properly worked for, holds genuine promise. This quality is felt by everyone who comes into contact with the person who has it. People cannot always articulate why they enjoy being around certain individuals and find others draining. But the most consistent differentiator between the two types is exactly this: the fundamental orientation toward possibility versus the fundamental orientation toward limitation, complaint, and the cataloging of what is wrong. The man with a positive mental attitude does not pretend that difficulties do not exist. He acknowledges them clearly and honestly, but he does not dwell in them. He moves through them toward solution. He keeps his energy directed forward, and the people around him feel that forward momentum and respond to it, often by contributing more of their own energy and capability than they would have contributed in the presence of a man whose orientation was oriented toward complaint. The second quality is definiteness of purpose. There is something magnetically attractive about a man who knows exactly what he is doing and why, who has a clear direction, a clear reason for his choices, a clear sense of where he is going and what he is building. This quality inspires confidence in the people around him. They feel that their own effort, contributed to his purpose, will not be wasted, that it will go somewhere, build something, produce a result. And people are far more willing to contribute their best effort to an enterprise they trust is going somewhere than to one that seems to wander. The purposeful man also makes decisions more easily, more quickly, and with more apparent authority than the man who is uncertain of his direction. And decisiveness is one of the most attractive qualities a person can possess. Not because it is always right, but because it creates forward momentum that draws people in and keeps them engaged. The third quality is flexibility. The man who is rigidly committed to his own views, who cannot hear a perspective that differs from his own without becoming defensive, who cannot change course when the evidence suggests a better approach. This man, regardless of his other qualities, creates friction everywhere he goes. Flexibility is not the absence of strong convictions. It is the ability to hold strong convictions about the destination while remaining genuinely open to other perspectives on the route. To be willing to say, "I was wrong about this," when the evidence warrants it. To hear what other people are actually saying, rather than simply waiting for your turn to restate your own position. This quality of genuine intellectual flexibility makes a man more effective, because his thinking benefits from a wider range of perspectives, and it makes him more pleasant to be in relationship with, because people do not feel they are speaking into a wall when they share their views with him. The fourth quality is sincerity of purpose. People can feel, not always consciously, but with a reliability that should not be underestimated, whether the person they are dealing with is genuine, whether the warmth is real or performed, whether the interest is authentic or calculated, whether the commitment to the shared purpose is true or tactical. The man of genuinely pleasing personality does not perform his personality. He simply is it. His warmth is real because he genuinely cares about the people he works with. His interest in others is real because he genuinely finds people interesting. His commitment to the shared purpose is real because he is genuinely invested in the outcome. This sincerity cannot be manufactured, but it can be cultivated by genuinely investing in the people around you, by taking a real interest in what matters to them, by caring about outcomes for the group and not just for yourself, by making the daily choice to bring your genuine self, your real warmth, your real interest, your real commitment to your interactions rather than a calculated performance of those qualities. The fifth quality, and this is perhaps the most practically powerful of all, is the ability to make other people feel important. I have observed, across decades of research, that one of the deepest and most universal human needs is the need to feel genuinely valued, not flattered. People can detect the difference between flattery and genuine appreciation with surprising accuracy, but genuinely valued, genuinely seen, genuinely recognized for what they contribute and who they are. The man who consistently, genuinely, specifically acknowledges the value of the people around him, who notices their contributions, who speaks well of them both in their presence and in their absence, who makes each person he interacts with feel that their perspective and their effort genuinely matter. This man creates loyalty, cooperation, and enthusiasm that no amount of compensation or authority can produce. This is not manipulation. It is the recognition of a fundamental truth, that people are genuinely valuable, that their contributions genuinely matter, that treating them as such is not just strategically useful, but simply accurate. And the man who understands this, and who acts on it consistently and genuinely, builds around himself a quality of relationship that makes every collective enterprise he is part of more effective and more rewarding for everyone involved. I want to talk about the qualities that make a personality actively displeasing, not to dwell on the negative, but because understanding what drives people away is at least as useful as understanding what draws them toward you. The first is the habit of criticism and complaint. The man who consistently points out what is wrong with people, with situations, with the state of the world, is an energy drain on everyone around him. This is not a moral judgment. It is a practical observation. People find it exhausting to be in prolonged contact with someone whose dominant orientation is toward what is wrong, and they will, given any reasonable alternative, avoid spending time in that company. The critical man often believes he is being valuable, that his willingness to point out problems is a form of honesty that lesser men are too polite to practice. He may be right that the problems he identifies are real, but his consistent focus on them and his apparent lack of interest in solutions makes him a weight rather than a propellant in any enterprise. The second displeasing quality is the habit of talking too much about oneself. Everyone finds their own story interesting. Most people find it considerably less interesting when it is told by someone else at great length. The man who consistently steers every conversation toward his own experiences, his own achievements, his own perspectives and opinions, without genuine interest in the experiences, achievements, perspectives and opinions of the person he is supposedly in conversation with, is the man who people find reasons to avoid. The most attractive conversationalists are not the ones with the most interesting things to say. They are the ones who are most genuinely interested in the person they are talking with, who ask real questions, who listen to the answers with real attention, who make the other person feel that what they have to say is worth hearing. This quality of genuine interest in others is at once the most attractive conversational quality a person can possess, and one of the rarest. Cultivate it consciously, practice it deliberately, and you will find that people seek your company with an enthusiasm that has very little to do with how entertaining you are as a talker. The third displeasing quality is inconsistency. The man who is warm and engaged one day and cold and distracted the next, who follows through on commitments sometimes and forgets them other times, who is supportive and encouraging in one context and dismissive in another. This inconsistency makes people uncertain about where they stand with him, and uncertainty in relationships produces exactly the opposite of the cooperation and open contribution that a pleasing personality generates. Be consistent, not perfectly uniform in mood. You are human, and no one expects you to perform positivity every moment of every day, but consistent in the deeper qualities that determine the quality of your relationships, your genuine care for the people around you, your follow-through on what you promise, your basic respect for the time and contribution of others. These qualities, held consistently over time, build the trust that is the foundation of every genuinely effective alliance. Let me talk about something that I believe is the most important and most overlooked dimension of this principle. The pleasing personality is not primarily a social skill. It is a character quality. The man who possesses a genuinely pleasing personality is not someone who has learned to perform pleasantness in social situations. He is someone who has genuinely cultivated, through attention, through practice, through a fundamental commitment to caring about the people around him, a quality of character that expresses itself naturally and consistently in his interactions. This means that the development of a pleasing personality is not primarily a matter of learning techniques. It is a matter of doing the inner work that produces the genuine qualities from which the outward expression naturally flows. Cultivate genuine interest in people, not as a technique, as an actual shift in your orientation. Decide to find people interesting. Decide to be curious about their experiences, their perspectives, their challenges, their dreams. People are, if you approach them with genuine openness, almost universally interesting. They have lived experiences you have not had, developed knowledge you do not have, formed perspectives that can genuinely expand yours. Cultivate genuine care for the well-being of the people around you, not as a performance, as a real investment. Decide that the success and happiness of the people you work with matters to you, not because it is strategically useful, though it is, but because they are human beings whose flourishing is worth caring about. Cultivate genuine gratitude for the contributions of others, for the opportunities your situation provides, for the things that are working in your favor. Gratitude changes your orientation toward your circumstances and toward the people in them in ways that are felt by everyone around you. These inner qualities, once genuinely developed, produce the outward expression of a pleasing personality without effort or performance. They are felt by others because they are real, and they build the quality of relationship that makes every collective enterprise more effective and every human life more rich. I want to close with this. The pleasing personality is not the only requirement for achievement. Knowledge matters, skill matters, persistence matters, definiteness of purpose matters. But in any enterprise that requires the cooperation of other human beings, and every significant enterprise does, the quality of your personality as a force in other people's lives is the multiplier that determines how much of your other capabilities actually get deployed. The most knowledgeable man in the room who cannot inspire cooperation from the people around him will accomplish less than a less knowledgeable man who can. The most skilled individual who drives away the talent his enterprise needs will build less than a less skilled man who attracts and retains that talent through the quality of his presence. The personality is not separate from the achievement. It is the medium through which every other capability is expressed in the world of human endeavor. Develop it, not as a social skill, as a character quality, as the expression of who you genuinely are when you have done the inner work of becoming someone who is genuinely interested in people, genuinely invested in their well-being, and genuinely committed to bringing your full, warm, purposeful self to every interaction. That person, the person who has genuinely cultivated these qualities, is the most powerful force in any room they enter. Become that person.